Hi Tom, I'm Ezelle from the upcoming. It's lovely to speak to you today, and congratulations on this fantastic film.
Thank you.
Perhaps you could start by telling us a little bit about what fans can expect from Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga story.
It's a revenge story, but there's a lot of other components in there. It's still got this clash between survival and clinging onto one's humanity, sometimes at the expense of survival, and sometimes clinging onto survival at the expense of one's humanity. And there's hope in there as well.
And can you tell us a little bit about your character and kind of what it was about the script that made you, and the story that made you want to climb on board?
Furiosa is an extraordinary character, and Charlize played her in an extraordinary way, and Anya had a very different challenge ahead of her because she's got to be that at the end, but be something else at the beginning and work out what that journey is and why. And I was thrilled to see what Anya would do with that, and the fact that I felt that I was part of that journey with her was very special, and was everything I hoped it would be and more, really.
What was it specifically about your character that you thought, yeah, I like that, I can get into that, and how did you prepare for that?
I think when you're playing people who are very courageous and who have, in some sense, fought the tide at some moment in their life, you inevitably start thinking about people you've met, either in passing or people you know quite well, who you see that in, and it's really nice to feel you can privately pay homage to them in some way by using that in a kind of creative way.
And obviously working with Anya Taylor-Joy, this time, you two meet and you quickly develop this kind of understanding and this need for survival in the Wasteland. Can you talk about what it was like sort of working with her and how you felt the connection as characters? Because you didn't really have much dialogue, really, between you to start with.
Well, we connected as people, and there were certain conversations and things that happened quite quickly that I think really helped establish a sense of trust. And I think that chemistry is trust, whether it's whatever kind of chemistry, there's all kinds of chemistry people have on screen together. And this had to be all kinds of that anyway. And she's very there, not just in the take in a very live way, but she's very there in between the takes as well. She's not kind of skulking off to a corner and muttering to herself or kind of putting headphones in. She's the conversation is happening about the scene or about life or about whatever else, and there's just a kind of flow to it that helps you feel very connected.
Yeah, because I think you see that, especially with her, like her welling up, but she doesn't cry, and then you respond to that, and it's really subtle, the kind of things that you have between you, but it comes across so well, and it delivers really
I think
beautifully.
it was a real sense of wanting to discover something new in every take. And yeah.
And the pairing is slightly underpinned by romance, slightly, which seems so rare, given the view of women as just kind of breeding components seen in this film. Was that an interesting slant to your character, and what do you think it does for the film to have that slight element?
Well, actually, we had a conversation about what being in that environment would do to you if it didn't corrupt you entirely. The idea that they might both have become quite asexual, and that romance might not be anywhere near the front of their minds, and that whatever that is in that kind of quite sort of final moments between them might be quite new, might be about the fact they're facing a totally different horizon suddenly, and that actually, what's happening up to there is all sorts of other kinds of connections, which actually, you think it's probably a better thing to base any kind of relationship on to begin with, a respect. And as Anya said, he falls in love with her dream.
And, well, obviously, we've got to discuss the epic action scenes in this. Particularly the scene Stowaway to Nowhere. Can you talk about filming those, what that experience was like? Going through the desert. I know, obviously, there's some green screen to that, but can you talk about the scenes where you're actually in it, what it felt like to have all these things coming at you? And it's amazing.
It's thrilling. I had an acting teacher called John Busquets, so it gives you something for nothing. There was no point where I was just staring at a green screen. You could see like tiny bits of green screen sometimes behind a hell of a lot of moving objects coming from all different directions, including fire. Yeah, it was very easy to feel immersed.
Because there's one particularly long scene, isn't there? What was that like to film? Did you do it in one take?
Well, no, that took 78 days. Stowaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that took 78 days.
Right, so what it's like working with the director, George Miller, on this, obviously. What's he like to be on set with? And did you work closely to kind of frame your character and flesh out your story arc with him?
He suggested I did a bit of that myself before I got out there. He'd already given me an idea of what he thought it might be and how, but suggested I sort of fill in some blanks there, and I did that with the help of a drama school teacher of mine called Lloyd Trott, who is very good at knowing how to get that out of an imaginative exercise rather than a kind of intellectual one. And then when we got there, that was built on with George and with Nico and with Sebado, who assists Nico.
I mean, it was filmed on location in Australia. So how long were you there for the whole duration of it? And were there any kind of challenges? Because obviously, maybe the heat in the desert and things like that. Was there anything that kind of...
Actually, when we first got into the desert, it was freezing.
Oh, okay.
And I felt really sorry for the guys on top of the war rig who weren't wearing shirts. I mean, it was really cold. And then other days it was kind of baking. So it was, all kinds of different extremes.
Goodness. But well done on the Australian accent, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, I had a lot of help from Felicity Gurd, G-U-R-D, with that. She was a real great help. I didn't meet her properly till the end. It was kind of the odd call on Zoom, but yeah, she was really helpful.
And aside from working with Anna Taylor-Joy, I mean, you've got Chris Hemsworth. He's amazing, and such this brilliant ensemble cast, and these millions of extras, help bring the story to life. What was that like working with him and the rest of that ensemble cast and all those people as well?
So, I mean, I don't want to say it's because I haven't seen every movie Chris has done, but I've seen quite a few, and seeing him play a character that had such a different physical centre was really exciting, because he's got such an amazing shape, but then to see this kind of more fluid use of his body, and his dynamic with Dave, who plays Smeg, and his whole team, and just the way they built that whole dynamic, that was really exciting. And such an extraordinary cast of Australian actors in every scene, just in every little chapter.
I mean, the attention to detail, the imagination of the guys behind this, the costumes, makeup, outfits, sets, it's crazy. And some of the story feels a little bit biblical in some sense. You've got the tree that comes out, the forbidden fruit, and this John Waterhouse painting that bleeds like St. Veronica in the Bible. Did that come through when you read the script, and were you blown away by the attention to detail in this?
I think you can tell that George is very interested in having kind of one foot in the mythic. And then really working on where that other foot has to be, so that doesn't feel like some kind of pastiche of that, but that it's in earnest, and that's really exciting to me, that kind of thing.
And obviously, so much meticulous work has gone into the production. What do you think some of the highlights on set for you in particular were?
Teamwork, and watching that happening around me, as well as being part of it, and just going, wow, that's these, and realizing how far some of those relationships went back, and you thought, oh god, they've actually probably fallen out and yelled at each other and then worked it out, and that's why it's so strong. That's why it feels like you're stepping into kind of family.
I think some of the messages that come through, I mean, there's the idea of humanity. I mean, I don't know, what are some of them for you, and what do you sort of hope that viewers will take away when they watch this movie?
Yeah, I think we all have a kind of mode of operating, and we all want to feel safe, and it's kind of the negotiation of that with one's humanity, to not put one in front of the other, to survive, but to survive with one's humanity intact. I think that's what we all kind of need to have in our intention.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Congratulations on it. It's brilliant. Thank you
very much.